you know, in the world today, what harm's a little nice? So, all right, welcome back, all my fellow D-Leaguers, all you big swingers, and anyone else in between. My name is Michael. This is D-League BP. And this video right here is a follow-up to my very first video, which was about how I fixed my terrible, terrible slow pitch softball swing. Now, in that particular video, in the first video, I talked about mechanical changes that I had made to improve my swing. But in this video, I want to talk about more of the lessons that I learned along the way, things that I learned while trying to improve my swing. So here are 6 tips that I think may help you become a better slow pitch softball hitter. All right, so tip number 1, do your homework. In essence, I'm telling you to keep doing what you're doing right now, which is seek out as much information as you can about how to properly swing at a slow pitch softball. I'll link some of my favorite channels in the description below that you can check out. But what I recommend is watching a variety of different people, getting a variety of sources, because while they're all kind of talking about the same basic mechanics of swinging at a pitch, they have different ways of describing that. And what somebody says, one person says, may not really click for you when somebody else says it, and it just hits you instantly. For instance, one of the more popular guys talks about snapping your wrist. And I thought I understood what he was really talking about. And then I watched a really old video of Ray DeMarini, shout out, man, talking about how to hit a slow pitch softball and his discussion of what wrist snapping meant. And it really clicked for me at that moment about what he was really talking about. So find the sources, consume a lot of sources. So the more information you have, the better you can go out and practice. Tip number 2, record your swing. Now, you don't need any high-tech equipment. You got a good cell phone, you got what you need. Just get a cheap tripod, set it up, and record yourself swinging. Now, I like to do it from 2 angles. I like to do it directly from the side and from behind. And those let me see best what the mechanics of my swing look like, particularly the side view. Now, also be honest with yourself when you're doing a review. When you go back to watch it, don't think about it as you're just watching yourself. Think if you were watching a friend and you were trying to give them advice on how to improve their swing. Be honest with yourself so that you can really identify what flaws you see, and so that you can go out and then work on those in your next batting practice. All right, so tip number 3, set incremental goals. Don't just start out by saying, I want to hit the ball 350 feet. Because if you're not already hitting the ball like 320 feet, that's a really ridiculous goal, and it's going to frustrate you because it's going to be such a hard path to that success. Instead, set realistic small goals along the way. So one of my very first goals was just simply to improve my bat path. Over multiple batting practice sessions, I just wanted to see consistently in video that I was losing my uppercut and I was taking a more direct path with my hands and the bat directly to the ball. And then after I saw that improvement, then I started working on the next set of goals, which would be, less lazy fly balls or less slow rolling grounders. And then I worked on hitting backside. And I didn't stress necessarily how much or what the results were, so long as I was achieving those goals, so long as my bat path was good, so long as I was making solid contact. I didn't worry about distance or power. I just kind of worried about what that particular thing was that I was working on at the time. And then after I set those goals along the way, then I made goals for distance. I decided, I'm hitting the ball solidly. I'm getting back spin. I'm cutting the ball better. Let's try to hit the ball out of Tom Brown, which is 285. And now I can do that fairly consistently during batting practice. Not every time. I'm not a big power hitter, but I can do it. And now I'm working on doing that at Messer, which is 300 feet. I have to hit the ball even farther. And eventually I would like to be able to hit the ball out of the baseball field, and be able to hit the ball 350 feet. But I can't set that goal right now because I'm not close to it, and it would be frustrating. So set incremental goals, set realistic goals along the way that you can achieve on a regular basis. It'll help you be more successful and more motivated along the way. All right, so tip number 4, develop a routine. For a lot of us, we haven't been part of an organized sport since like high school. And for a lot of us, that's 20 or 30 years ago, And the thing, if we think back to those high school sports, even grade school sports, the thing about those is they had routine. They included set times for practice. And when you got to the actual practice, it was planned out for you. There was something that was going to happen. Now, you don't have a coach, so nobody's going to tell you what to do, so you need to do that yourself. So come up with a routine that works for you, that helps you work on the things you need to work on. For instance, for me, I start with a little bit of light stretching. Nothing serious. I'm not out there doing yoga. I'm working on my calves a little bit and just working on my back and stretching it out a little bit before I start swinging at live pitching. And then I set up the tee, and the first thing I do is I work on hitting balls to right field. I take about 10 cuts with the bat. A lot of times I use the flipper, and I just take 10 cuts and I hit backside. And then I use my weighted bat with the cradle's weight, and I hit backside. With that for about 10 cuts. And then I turn and I hit the ball back up the middle, and I take 10 swings that way. I take 10 swings with the weighted bat, and then I set the tee out and I hit it to left field and do the same basic routine. So I take anywhere from 60 to 75 swings on a regular day before I ever break out the pop toss and take, kind of live BP by myself. And what that allows me to do is it allows me 60 to 70 swings to really work on just mechanics. Taking the right stride, taking my bat path and my hands to the ball, extending my arm out so it's not pinned against my shoulder and actually getting out to meet the ball. It helps me with point of contact and figuring out where I should be hitting that ball before I see live pitches. And in those days when I do that routine, when I start off with anywhere from 60 to 75, 80, just balls off the tee first, those are some of my best days swinging. And sometimes I actually end up with content that I put on the channel, a lot of time on the shorts or something, because I wasn't really planning on doing any filming. I just happened to be swinging the bat really, really well and figured, hey, I might as well set up the camera. So that's when things like this happen, where I'm really driving the ball very well. That came after a routine. When I just shoot videos for content, I usually skip that, and sometimes I actually suffer and I don't get my best swings during those videos. So it just really is. If you want to get better, set your own practice routine, set your own times to go, set aside time that you're going to go, and when you get there, have a plan, and it will help you become a better hitter. All right, time for tip number 5. Invest in equipment, but not bats. Now, that sounds a little strange coming from me, a guy who tries to get his hand on the latest, greatest thing and then do a bat review for you. But I can't stress this enough, man. The latest, greatest bat isn't going to make you a better swinger. You're not going to go from being a 300-foot hitter to a 350-foot hitter just because you got your hands on the latest monster or the latest Genesis. It doesn't work that way. There's a reason you see guys hit the ball consistently 350 foot, and they go out there with every bat they pick up and they hit the ball 350 feet. It's because they got great swing mechanics. Sure, it helps to be 6'4" and 250 pounds with great swing mechanics, but big guys aren't the only guys doing this. There's small guys hitting the ball a long way. And the funny thing is they could pick up a corn dog and hit the ball 320, 330 feet. Like, they don't need the latest, greatest bat. They have great mechanics. And to improve your swing, what you need to do is invest in equipment. Pick up some really good BP balls. I've done videos on those. You can check them out. Get yourself a really good tee. There's lots of options out there. There's the GT, the Tanner tee. There's a bunch of options out there that you can use. Consider getting a pitching machine. If you take a lot of batting practice with friends, consider getting the Blue Flame by Louisville Slugger. And if you're on your own schedule and you're doing this kind of this journey on your own, consider the Green Pitching Machine by Pop Toss. And I'll link some of that equipment that I really like in the description below so you can check it out. But finally, that other final piece of equipment is a bat. Now, you do want to have a really good game bat, and you want to have a batting practice bat. And you want them to be similarly weighted. You don't want to swing a 28-ounce, 1-ounce in load in batting practice and then go swing a 24-ounce balanced bat in the game. You're doing yourself a disservice. You don't want to swing a stiff handle in practice and then a flex handle in the game. Get similarly situated, weighted bats. Even better, use the same bat, but you don't necessarily want to go out and BP and put 1,000 cuts on a lot of these new bats. Most of them can handle it, but you don't necessarily want to do that, especially if you live in places where you want to do batting practice in colder weather. So that's why I kind of highly recommend the Anarchy cross-core bats if you're a USA ASA player. You can a lot of times pick them up pretty cheap on sale. They take thousands of swings, they take lots of abuse, and they just get hotter and hotter. So you can swing them in batting practice with 2,000 swings and still feel good about taking them to the ball field on league night and swinging them there. So, check out the equipment I got below. Consider investing in equipment, not bats, if you want to become a better hitter. All right, so last but not least, tip number 6. Trust that your hard work is going to pay off. What I mean is progress isn't always linear. Sometimes it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Sometimes the change you're trying to work on will actually lead to more problems. But you need to trust that what you're doing is the correct thing to do and that your hard work is going to pay off. For instance, when I started this, one of the very first things I did was I changed my grip. And it was essential to change my grip to become a better hitter. But the batting practices immediately after that were a struggle because I lost control of the bat head. I actually had more ground balls and lazy fly balls and foul tips that went nowhere for a while before I really saw the improvement that I was looking for. So trust the process and have faith that your hard work is going to help you improve. So, identify those improvements and celebrate them. And conversely, don't stress those bad days. There are going to be days when you go out on a Friday, for instance, and you're going to hit bomb after bomb. You're going to be smashing the ball into the gap. You're going to feel on top of the world, and you're going to think that everything that you've been working on and all your goals, and you finally figured it out. You've got it. And then you're going to go out on Sunday, and you're going to struggle. You're going to show up to game night, and you're going to hit 3 lazy fly balls to the shortstop. Don't stress those days, man. Progress is when you have more good days than bad days. Progress is when you get it right more often than you get it wrong. And that is what you need to celebrate. Identify it and celebrate it. Yeah, perhaps you didn't hit any home runs, but maybe you didn't also ground out the shortstop 3 times or hit lazy fly balls to the outfield or swing at bad pitches. Whatever your goals are, work towards them. And when you see improvement, make sure you identify it and you take time to appreciate that your hard work is paying off. All right, so that's it. Those are my 6 tips that hopefully will help you become a better hitter. And if you made it this far in this video and you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit the like button. And if you like this kind of content, you want to see more of this, then hit that subscribe button. And also feel free to jump in the comments below and leave me any feedback or questions or your own tip or anything like that. Just drop it below. I would really appreciate it. The only rule there is please be nice. In the world today, what harm's a little nice? So until the next video, keep doing your thing. Peace.